Hello, and welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter. We're here, we're back, after an extended, sleepy absence. Back right in time for a heat wave. Woohoo! Or humidity wave in Jacob's case.
Just now on stream.
Yeah. I don't really think. I don't need. Why even do a little bit at the beginning of the show where I kind of chat to you in a friendly way, because it never goes well. So why don't we just get started with the D&D and stuff, right? Okay.
What were we doing last time, Ian?
We got to the place.
Okay, I'll do it.
No,
Did we talk to the person?
We did, and we got access to the place.
Whoa!
Okay.
We're getting a guided tour.
You've already crushed it. Holy Spirit.
No,
Yes!
I mean, you got the important bit for you guys. I will just do a little bit more of a recap for anyone who's missed a bit. Mind Over Matter Chapter 2 is all about Bogdan. Ta-da! You have gone to the deep dwarf city, the Wall of Abonar. It is it's a wall city built into the side of the grand underrealm caverns. And your first kind of priority there, after setting up a basic little base of operations in Bogdan's old secret family home, is changing the course of history. For you see Bogdan's family curse, if that remains in the history books, it will kind of make it difficult for you to actually last on the throne, because it'd be used against you, so you need to change the record. Doing that will require a heist into the Lore of Lords, a deep dwarf lore-keeping tomb, where the history of kings and nobles is recorded on big stone slabs, unchanging. At the end of last session, you had Ashal and Oshun. Remember, there's only 3 characters. I should remember your names. Actually, basically go, well, we would really like to take a look in there with diplomats and far away, and but the dwarves do lore keeping so well. If only our people could do it so well. And you did manage to get a tour of the Lore of Lords. I think last week I said it was going to be one of those things where it's going to be like, hey, we're going to come back and get you. Nah, we're going to straight up go, you guys are going on that tour now. You're going to get to have a little cheeky peeky, and then you can kind of plan your little heist to get in there and change the record of Bogdan's family curse.
Please tell me that it's a coal carrier thing that we sit in and then just it's like
a minecart.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's not like you're going on the Indiana Jones Disneyland ride or whatever, or Universal ride. This is a library.
You're saying it's not in 4D?
Yeah. No, that original ride, according to YouTube, has a little like Indiana Jones who shows up at some points and goes like. So,
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Theme
park YouTube is a real hole. Theme park YouTube is a hole you can live in forever if you want to. Just fair warning.
It gives you sustenance.
Videos on how horrifying the practices were at some theme parks.
Oh, and yeah, and if you watch any of them, you'll get to learn to hate some of the Disney executives for them shitting on ideas and the ideas they did do.
I already hate them.
So, you were talking to this lawkeeper who works at the Lore of Lords. They have had they take a moment, they clasp their hand around a little glass vial of pale sand, and clearly, as Charles, you could tell that they're casting a spell, basically message, not as powerful as sending, to kind of ask a question a little ways down or at the end, and will agree to take you to the Lore of Lords, and they do so. Do you want to try and get Bogdan first? Because Bogdan's kind of doing his own thing. Or are you okay with just you two going on this, because you're not doing, unless things go horribly wrong, you're not doing the heist yet, you're just getting information.
Yeah, I think it's probably best not to risk the attention on Bogdan. like it's better to be a couple of ignorant diplomats rather than bringing actual
couple of
people.
foreigners.
I would, however, like because that we were in a place that was that sold paper and
It was a law-keeping depot, right? So the part of the city you're in is the Cathedral Ward. It's the Cathedral District where the majority of the organized orders reside, and also the organized worship of Othram, the Voice, the religion of the city. A lot of the high-ranking law-keeping obviously happens here because it's connected very deeply. Law, especially law, L-A-W, instead of L-O-R-E. So the building you're in right now is like a lawkeeper's depot for buying the slate, for buying equipment and things like that. And interestingly enough, a lot of the time people don't seem to be exchanging coins. Things just seem to be handed over, maybe with a little piece of, actually with like a script of paper, or probably like something thicker, more like a kind of papyrus, or something written on cloth. Or it's just handed over, or occasionally coins, but that seems to be very big orders where multiple people are involved. Where it's like people coming and getting their chisel and ink or stuff for the day, it's all just happening.
Because I was going to ask if I could, if it's the sort of place I could buy a notebook, basically specifically for this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I would, rather than getting out... Yeah, rather than getting out as Charles' ratty magic book, I want to look semi-presentable.
You can get a nice dwarven book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. Because here's the thing, right? Dwarves don't enjoy the concept of writing on paper. For them, paper is too fragile and too breakable. Which is interesting because elves don't really have the same opinion. They either enchant things or will rewrite things. Dwarves prefer to chisel in stone, but if they are going to write in a book, it kind of makes sense to be more on, like, it would be like cloth leaf in the book. Which will make the book a little more expensive. Wahaha.
So are we dwarves just like the Flintstones with shoes?
Yeah.
Alright.
And dinosaurs.
Well, there might be some dinosaurs. 25 gold for an empty book seems fine. That's the price in a regular book.
Yeah.
It's hardy, you know?
Yeah.
Make sure to keep your receipt.
Okay. The guy whose name is Camon, if you actually ask, I don't think you did last week, will lead you in a very straight and practical route towards the Law of Lords. Something that you've started to notice in your time in Abanar is that it doesn't take long to get anywhere from anywhere, unless you're going horizontally across the wall, because it does span the entire horizontal edge of the cavern. Because the city is just designed for pedestrians. It's designed for that sort of thing. You are largely going upwards, although you were fairly high up anyway, and you end up at a very high area of the city. The Law of Lords itself is built into the edge of some fortresses, but you can see the entrance of it. It kind of extends out a bit like a tomb in a graveyard. There is this kind of Roman or Greek pillared structure that dips underneath into the Law of Lords, and on the roof of it is a giant clock. The clock is keeping time using celestial symbols that represent stars. Things that you guys don't really know about because you don't have them. But there are 12 of them. You guys don't really keep 12-month schedules because it doesn't make sense. But clearly, it seems like more of a fascination and a practical thing, although maybe there's some religious connotation of it as well. The Camon does kind of motion to it ever so slightly as they pass. More of kind of a, you should be impressed in looking at this. And then we'll lead you down into the first entry hall.
Ashal has already, like, with the motion to be impressed, Ashal would be, like, doing a quick sketch in the new book, like very quick.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just going.
Cool.
Does Oshun draw himself? So it's like a selfie?
No, not
pretty
quite.
Good. That's pretty good.
The actual entrance to Hall of the Lore of Lords it's not like, boom, you're in a library. It's kind of like the front room of a church, but more of like a meeting space as well. There's no other lore keepers in here right now, but there is a Duros, a dwarven automata. This one stands quite a good deal taller than the dwarf you're walking in with, and has a kind of pale gold design with ivory highlights. And while the other Duros, not that you've really seen them, have kind of like chunky dwarven helmets, this one the helmet has kind of no face and like a veil, but there's no face under it. It's kind of like this chain veil. And when Camon leads you up, there's 2 stairways that go 2 separate ways into the Lord of Lords, symmetrically. It's like, well, I will be introducing you. I will give you a brief tour of some of our lesser noble halls, and I will show you the way. And this is when, not really standing nearby, but Duros does raise a hand, and will kind of state their displeasure. Lordkeeper Camon, it is highly irregular for you to invite 2 strangers into the Lore of Lords. Master Ranimarco would not approve of such a thing. And Camon just kind of like waves his hand. This is fine. It is already arranged. It will only be a short visit. And you just, like, the Duros doesn't really move much, other than kind of like closing the gauntleted hand. There is this sound of oiled metal on oiled metal as it shifts, and it does kind of, it turns the body but not the head, and like, I will be reporting this. And will walk away, actually down the other doorway. Do you have a reaction to that?
Goodness.
Not particularly. I just wanted to say that while we are in here, Ashal will be sketching important rooms, but it's clearly in an artistic way. It's not. It's like, and making notes on things that they're told. It is what Ashal is basically doing. They're making little drawings that are that can't possibly be misunderstood as mapping the place. And is planning to combine that with their own intelligence and memory to recreate a map from it later.
You will have to do a check for this when you are inside the building proper, but yes.
Fair enough, but
I also want to say, are the Duros self-aware?
Bogdan doesn't think so.
Doesn't think so. They're taking over. The synths are taking over.
The official designation is that they are purely automata, but they are intelligent enough to fight wars for you.
I think Oshun would say, I think I didn't react in time. I felt as though I should introduce myself and explain why it was we were here, but at the same time, that it wasn't my place. I am so sorry for inconvenience our visit was brought upon you.
At this point, Karen takes a nice chunky key from like the belt and will put it into this little door and crunch it open, revealing some of the inside. And will turn to you before you go in and will say that I am simply very glad that you are so interested in how we keep our history. I know the history of the other peoples of the Underrealm is so lost to time, and it is a tragedy. And if it can be changed, this is an appropriate exchange of ideas.
I'm so glad that we see eye to eye on this.
You then have to bend down to get through the door, because it's not... Actually, the door is bigger than you thought it might be. You're just very, very tall. All of the doors are very big and they're like a perfect kind of 6.5 foot square, which is a good bit deal taller than any dwarf needs, usually around 4 to 5 foot, right? The entrance hall opens up with a little bit of space. It becomes very clear that the Lore of Lords is probably perfectly symmetrical, and you are only going to be seeing one half of it, at least as in this current walk. To your left is an area where there seems to be some degree of private chambers, probably for monks and lawkeepers who are staying there, warding it and protecting it. There are some candles still burning, stuff like that. There is no lantern light around that corner, though. There is a statue before you, and then it kind of opens up, and all the walls are filled with these slates. Now, this not being the core knowledge chamber, the slates are in shelves. The shelves are marked, and there are sometimes scrolls as well, or books. It's very organized, but you can tell that this is not the information of quite of much importance. So Cameron will go on to explain that this is where, you know, in the depths of the Lore of Lords is the Lords of Kings, the Lord of Kings, you know. That's the most important thing. The rest of it, you know, is Lords of the Mines, Lords of the Farmlands, all noble families of repute, and their histories and their genealogies, weddings, deaths, births, everything of import to history. And of course, whatever blessings the wall has given them, or take it from them, or other unnatural things that have occurred to them.
Fascinating. So it's a complete repository of the lives of all of your people in power, I suppose, for lack of a better term.
Yes, people of rapport, not as necessarily power, but those whose history may be necessary. Say, if a
curse.
If a family who makes wine loses all of their lives, in this record there would be who would take their place. Such things. It is of grand use to have this here, and of course the records here are copied and taken to lawkeepers where it is more necessary for them, for those who manage the affairs of such things, gravekeepers and midwives. It is not.
Yes, Karen?
It is not common that we allow anyone in, of course.
Thank you. In my city, we are a very church-based settlement, and most of our records are put through events that happen within the church. So this would be naming ceremonies, occupational ceremonies, weddings, and funerals are all birth ceremonies are all taken part through one of our two sister denominations. Is that the same here as well? Are all of your records church-based? Weddings? Well, I assume your weddings are.
The weddings, of course. That is an astute question. We lawkeepers are not a religious organization, but many of us do have. He will actually show the little vial of sand on his thing. So the most of us pay our respects to Othram Nadahir, and often can gain small blessings in return. But the church does not manage us. It works in harmony. Very often the church has influence on these historical events, but it is rare that they would need to have a direct hand as they do in your city.
You mentioned that records are copied and taken to places like mortuaries, I suppose, gravekeepers, similar places. Are there permanent copies of it kept there, or is it only temporary?
All copies here are the birthstones. Any other information in the city flow from. If something were to be changed, say an individual changed their name, the change would happen here first and would flow throughout the city. Anywhere else would be... Lawkeepers would be sensible to check with us, of course. It is when they do not check that we have bureaucratic accidents, which can occur.
Golf laughter.
Yeah. Two things from y'all. Perception or investigation checks. Investigation will be slightly more suspicious. And then, as Charles, we need a roll for your trying not to look suspicious while sketching a map of the place. Realistically...
Not a map of the place.
Can I assist with that? Because I have a question that I wanted to ask in character.
Do the question first, and I'll see if it gives a Charles assistance on this next roll.
Okay. Just popping out my sheet. Would you like me to roll?
Roll the perception first. Yeah. And I'll tell you what you see. I will get rid of some of the noises of crowds and peoples, because you can't really hear. Part of this you're gonna get for free. You can't really hear all that much because you're kind of deep in the stone.
That was a bad roll.
But as Charles, all that you can tell is while you are deep in the stone, and yes, you are kind of under some buildings, kind of. There's definitely an ambient noise in this place that's more, that's not just it is a tomb in a wall. You can't quite work out what it is. It's not the clock from outside. There is an ambient noise that is constant that is not normal based on this place's construction. What is it you wanted to ask?
So I noticed that you mentioned your record keeping is hierarchical. I was also wondering if you alphabetized them, or of course had them in chronological order.
It is chronological. Chronological based on families in power. So the family who is currently in power will be at the top of the, well, it is both and yes. Families who are currently in power are at the height of this collections and easy to select. Those who were at power will be at their chronological order. If there was some kind of upset for, say, a leadership changed quite suddenly, then there would be a split in the records.
I see. Would you mind making a note of that for me, Ashal? Something similar happened recently where I'm from. I know you're a visual learner. You know how the calamari can be. Calamari.
I will allow.
What I said. I'm gonna go with ignorance.
I will also say go with ignorance. I will allow you to roll to see if you give a Charles advantage. Let's see. I think I will allow that to be a persuasion, not a deception, because you are right. This has just happened, and that's kind of what we want. Because Ashal does kind of have to do a deception here, without advantage.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you want to.
Oh. Okay.
I tried.
Cameron watches you do this.
Ashal is my pet squid.
Like, if Ashal senses that Cameron's eyes are on them, Ashal will, like, pause and look up and say, I am sorry, is this not allowed? I will stop if you request.
It would not be sensible. You may gain the ire of the Tomb Eye.
Ooh.
Oh, yes, the guards that you mentioned, of course. My apologies.
Oh no, not God. Singular. Singular protector of this tomb summoned to protect it from interlopers.
Oh.
And fiends.
Ashal just nods,
closes the book, books away. Yeah.
My apologies, Ashal. I did not mean to put you in any danger.
No, I was making notes for my own sake as well. But
what manner of being is a tomb eye to protect records such as these with no light or fresh aeration? Or...
It can see quite well within the darkness, and does not need sustenance like a mortal does.
He's wanted to say this story for a long time, and now he has an audience.
He is kind of glad to tell the story, because this is kind of normal, and he will actually be walking you down one of the main corridors. It basically does seem like there's one main route that probably leads to where the king stuff is, but on both sides of the building, and it's quite wide. And he will speak that we are able to summon a great many servitors who can aid our pursuit of knowledge. The tomb eyes protect our ancestors in the grave tombs and protect our knowledge in the tombs here. Only the church can summon them with the aid of the lawkeepers, and they make sure that everything is where it needs to be. They organize things when they are not protecting things. And as you are going down this corridor, you actually see at the end of it, doorway just closing. You can see kind of a grey bandage-wrapped tentacle being pulled along and then pushing the door closed, actually, quite delicately.
They are divine entities, then?
The closest we have to any keepers of the records are the trainee sisters. Paper and trainees. One wonders why the great fire of 08 destroyed them.
He nods approvingly of, we can only trust servitors to do the will of the voice along with the paladins. It takes a long time to build enough trust to be able to walk these halls and manage the records. Even the fake automated servitor that you saw outside of this chamber is not quite perfect in its divine design enough to be able to do the management necessary within this tomb.
I think the only person we could call upon would be Lady Ivrith herself. We are the closest to that of which you speak on this earth. I completely forgot what I was going to say. You carry on.
And we have no such divine beings. We rely on the pool of our own minds, or our own mind, perhaps.
I suppose I'd be asking how one would go about acquiring a similar kind of help in this way, but then I'd be asking what manner of beast or entity, is this eye, or singular.
It is a creature we can bind and control using the magic of the voice granted to us.
Oh, so it is bound creature channeling the divine. It is not an angelic being, like a
not a being sent by
depends on who you would ask. The rituals are divine. The energy comes from the voice and comes from the heavens. But there are a great many shapes of the servitors. Tomb Eye is only one. The wall bats are another. The city can be under their protection when necessary. But the Tomb Eyes are best fit for protecting halls like this. And at the end of the tour, down there, is where
Is the gift shop.
Where our elders can ruminate on these texts for time to discover their secrets, or if there were necessary changes with morticians or such, they would be taking place here, coalescing the records. There are 2 such wards, sit over here, and look on the other side of the structure. And I do regret that I cannot show you the King's lore itself. It would be far too important.
No, of course, we appreciate you granting us this boon.
Indeed.
It is far more than we had any right to expect.
It's going to be much in the way of renovation on our turn.
He will start walking you back out the way you came. And
is
then...
the baby going to react in any way to being like in the dark or something? It's going to be like...
Baby's fine. You guys are in the dark a lot, because every race can see in the dark a lot, you know? And this place did have some lanterns near the end, but it's mostly gloom, you know? Yeah, Baby doesn't care. Baby's just kind of appreciated the quiet, I think, more than anything. He will lead you outside, and thank you for your interest, and will encourage you to, if you have any further questions about how you can upgrade your lawkeeping potential, that perhaps this could be something organized through the Treaty of the Deep.
Oh, indeed. I'm sure we'll be in touch. And I can't wait to get started, honestly.
Yes, quite.
Well, first we have to have the proposal meeting. Am I right?
Alright. Back home?
Many things to look for. That's the eye.
Well, I think
go all the way to the end. Old people.
You definitely got to be careful about old people.
As Charles would, like, as soon as they get back, would be basically, like, getting out the sketchbook and trying to recreate as best as possible from memory, which is quite good to be.
Which is good. I mean, I think that should be an investigation check with disadvantage. I think is what we usually do for memory.
Put a cloak over your head to recreate the darkness.
You can just turn the light off.
Oh, the bad rolls! They're all coming out.
You remember that there's a main corridor, and at the end of it is a chamber for books.
We had a fun game last weekend, just for fun, and we rolled 20 after 20.
Oh, see, you should.
27,
Ian isn't allowed to play outside of Jarviskjir campaigns. It rests with the equilibrium.
Yeah.
It's right. It's true.
You screwed it.
You all your 20s.
Well, no, let's look at this in a positive way. We're doing really badly now, so when we do the heist itself, we do well.
That's true. This is just the prep stage.
This is the positivity that carries on. I keep coming back. I'm a glutton for punishment. It never works.
I do like to punish. Speaking of,
if we ever did a BDSM thing, it would just be rolling dice and getting low scores. Just
oh, that's a bad roll. Yeah, that is unfortunately very appropriate. Oh, Jacob, you want to follow that? I think you did have some kind of plans of what you wanted to do with Bogdan while they were heisting. Is there anything in particular, or just kind of, you know, wandering around this part of the city, getting the feel
Well,
back
he went to
for
go
it?
pray.
Yeah.
That was
that.
important to him. But I don't know if we need to cover that. He just...
Yeah, we covered that the last week some. In which case, on your way back, while this isn't, you know, a market district, there are of course people selling things on the streets. And on the way back home, you see someone at the side of a building selling a cage of bats. The bats have a kind of orangish yellow glow to them, with just a little bit of magic, but it's clearly a divine magic. You almost just instinctively feel a holy connection to them. Not to the point of, oh, I'm going to go buy a bat, because you have a bat, you have a familiar. But if you wish, I would allow you to change that familiar from a regular celestial bat to a glow bat, which can cast the spell light on itself at will.
Yeah, sure.
With the counterpoint being, it is always glowing. 5 feet bright, 5 feet dim. But you can control it to make it stronger.
Yeah, no, I'd rather keep him incognito.
Incognito. You can do that at any time by casting the spell again. If you wish to switch anytime in the future.
Oh, I can swap him out?
Yeah. I would say it costs the price of the ritual, right? But
it's a spell slot type of deal.
A spell slot, and there's a brazier, isn't it? There's a bronze brazier. Or something.
Right. Yeah.
Which isn't much.
No,
but
for now I'll keep him in the I'll keep him in dark mode.
It's all worth it. That little bit of lore is worth it for that joke. Cool. You can come back to your family home, to probably Ashal in the dining room, trying to scribble down maps.
And getting very, very frustrated. That whole thing with the tomb, I completely lost my focus.
That's okay. You have a whole bunch of pages that you managed to do before the conversation. And we know the general layout. It's not as if they were giving anything to us that was ultra specific. We retain the methodology for their organization and thus their layout.
Yes, but I would be happier with something approaching an accurate map.
I appreciate that, but I'm not sure that would be anything we would get unless we were exceedingly lucky. I don't know, like 20 to 1.
So, what did we learn?
Many things. It was an excessively useful trip. Almost. Beyond comprehension.
We got a guided tour of the lower areas of the Lore of Lords.
You're welcome. But now they know our face, so...
Well, one of them knows our face.
And he can be swiftly dealt with. No, I'm joking.
And those Duros.
One of the Duros.
Yes.
You only saw one there, and he was very... Like, the Duros that you will be seeing them around the city. They are often bodyguards, and they're often very specific looking. Like, there are like 2 or 3 standard patterns, which is either a kind of dull bronze or dull silver. This was a pimped out one. So...
Got a goldfish in his chest.
Well, maybe next time.
Subwoofers.
Hey, no one's played a Duros Bard yet. That's on the table.
I know what I'm playing. I know what I'm playing next. I genuinely want to do that now.
You're just constantly auto-tuned.
Yeah, but then Ian isn't. Like, how we do that?
Yes, we were taken into the catacombs and shown that their hall mainly travels in a straight direction, going from import up the hierarchy to kings at the very end. We learned that it's chronological and also slightly alphabetized, so mostly chronological, to do with the passage of time and the splitting of families. We learned that there are spying bats, as well as the rodent, not just the deans.
I don't get it either. I am not sure whether he spoke of the bats as being watchers in the Lore of Lords, or that was a comment on divine-bound creatures
It seemed...
in the city more generally.
Ah. And there is also a creature or an entity known as the Tomb Eye.
Or multiple Tomb-Eye.
They said that this one was the only one bound to do this work within these catacombs. There are many entities channeling
The voice.
The voice. Thank you. Voice. But that this one was the one there. Is that not correct?
I am not 100% certain.
I am not 100.
There is also... I heard a out-of-place sound. I could not quite discern what it was, but it was continuous. Running water, maybe? I could not hear it clearly enough to tell. That is merely a guess.
What was it like?
It was a continuous noise, out of place for the caverns. Unfortunately, I could not describe it more specifically.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's like white noise. It's like you could tell that there was a noise that wasn't natural, but what it was specifically is hard to work out.
It is almost more. I could not hear the noise itself, but I could hear that there was a noise. If that makes sense. Yes.
Can I is my adequate intelligence and lack of proficiency, can I make an Arcana check on that to see if I know what that is? Because I have a theory.
Yeah.
A game.
Any checks would obviously be easier looking at the building.
Right.
Just based off description and sketches, I'll allow you to make one, but it'll be a moonshot.
So we're on
could
theme.
be magic.
Yeah.
At least it's not 5, gang.
No, that would have been better.
Yeah, and also you went 7, 6, 8, not 6, 7, 8, which is sad.
Yeah, but I mean, we had 876 before that, so now we're just going to get 876 again.
There we go, yeah.
Oh, that's the new gang.
That's it this way.
Let's hope NPCs start rolling, huh?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, unfortunately, I don't know anything about a sound. My only theory is it's perhaps some kind, and this is pure speculation, but it's perhaps some kind of nullification anti-magic field, something to prevent intruders from scrying or relocating inside. That would be my guess. If it were under my control, that would be how I would protect it.
That would make sense, yes.
If you are keeping written records in a self-contained place that you want to control the distribution of knowledge, then scrying magic would be a nuisance, to say the least.
You seem to have a definite disrespect for the automaton entities. So
You'll find that goes around.
yeah, it's difficult to gauge to what extent the threat would be. He seemed very on his job, very committed. He said that he would be reporting us, which is another thing to be concerned about, to make sure we're not seen by at least these 2 people twice, if we are to accompany you now.
Yes,
The Viduros that reported us. I do not think that the person who gave us the tour was suspicious. And Viduros, I think, will no doubt be mentioning our appearances, but I think was more reprimanding the person giving us the tour than criticizing us. So we may not
May
even
have
get mentioned
bolstered
there.
him.
Yes, I think it goes without saying that the 2 of you shouldn't pursue this line of investigation further.
Are we accompanying you?
We don't have a plan yet. Ideally, we will all be there in secret, undetected, but it is one entrance. It's the most well-guarded place in probably the whole city, aside from the palace itself. It's going to be a large undertaking.
If we are simply worried about identities, my dabbling with shadows has granted me the ability to disguise myself. I would still appear out of place, because I cannot change my height greatly, but I would at least not appear to be myself.
Well then.
Could appear to be a Duras. But we need to understand what magical defenses they have within. Because if it's an anti-magic field, then your disguise would fail upon entry.
This is also true, although given how quiet it was in the catacombs themselves, I feel that the main difficulty would probably be the entry and evasion of the Tumai within. But it will probably not be... We will not be having to work out guard patterns and dodge around dozens of them.
Just academics.
There's just the Duras in the front and the Tumai within.
From what we saw,
Just.
yes. And perhaps there would be lawkeepers present, but not in any searching capacity. They would be there for their own purposes.
Much like a library, I suppose. Not many people guarding a library except one person and the librarian.
But when a significant weight of your society weighs upon this library, it is better defended.
It is safe to assume that that it is not quite so simple as those two guards. They probably have detection systems for whom I can raise alarms. I've no doubt of that.
Oh, well, I think the 2 mile raising an alarm is the least of what it will do.
Alright, we need a way in. We need a method to swap out the tablet with a forgery. And we need a way out.
Sounds good.
Does anyone hold from Botov?
No. I thought that he was with you.
No. He's
Is
been...
he with the small one?
You'll have to be more specific.
Catch-Al is behind you.
Shot!
Just big beady eyes under a hood, just looking up.
I just had a spark of inspiration that perhaps would be meaningless, but if we could pull it off, it would be incredibly valuable. You remember that curious usurper elf named Zal, or Zal, who ran the Schlop?
Yes.
Yes, the one in the strange... The chrono...
Yes, he was able to reverse and accelerate the flow of time on an object.
Yeah.
This would be... We could reverse the time on the tablet itself, and then we can ascribe anything we want, and then when it returns to the present, it'll be our text. It won't even be a forgery. It'll be a literal rewriting of history.
That would be incredible, if that could be.
Now, all we have to do is find Zal and the Schlop again.
Well, the first problem with that was it was in Narashiro.
I don't suspect that Zal is bound by such...
I was going to continue that very sentiment myself. It would not surprise me if we could find it here as well.
You need to recruit a chronomancer.
Or at least have him teach us.
How would one summon this person? Do we close our eyes and go to sleep thinking about him very clearly? And if we're good, he will appear?
We do what we did for when we last found his shop. We search for
something else.
Yeah. Away suspicious magic store.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Did this perchance happen when I put my feet up?
Yes.
Ah!
We did not wish to be controlled by what is it called in Narashiro, your mages guild, Arcanum, the Palace Arcanum.
I do believe the rewriting of the tablet, in whatever form it may take, is the first thing we must secure before we can plan the infiltration and exfiltration. Because without that, there's no point. And we also need to account for whatever we need to bring with us. So, shall we wander aimlessly the back alleys and hope we stumble upon a rather eccentric chronomancer who we have no reason to believe actually exists in this city?
Why, yes.
I haven't heard a better proposition today.
Very well.
Hey.
I shall take you to some of the back streets where a much younger Bogdan got into several scraps.
Oh, you must tell us about them. We just go to a back street. It's just like, back streets, back, alright.
Just West Side Story going on here.
Also, I assume there's like a safe in the townhome, so I don't walk around back alleys with $4,000.
Yeah. You have an accountant, so you probably have a safe.
Yeah, that's true. Stana.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Stana? I tell Stana to go ahead and take 1,000 of it and reinvest it, so we can have some
Invest in stocks.
Yeah.
stonks.
Probably not in stocks for the Law of Lords, because if we pull this off...
Well, Stana, this is his life's
Yeah.
work. I'm sure he'll be able to procure some more coins. So I'm gonna remove $1,000.
Yep. I'll maybe remember to do that. I'm just writing it down in my notes, just to like, Stana has 1,000 gold. Cool.
She
Excellent.
flees the city.
response.
Do you want to take Catcher Al with you as you're wandering around the streets?
Yes.
He is rather odd, and I think odd attracts odd.
Ah, that is a very valid point. Okay. Catcher Al does just kind of happily putters along behind a lot of you as you leave the house. That's excellent.
God, I must know what he is. But I also never want to know, ever.
It's two halflings in a Ebamari suit with a pet rat, apparently.
No, it's just rat people.
It's just a rat.
It's just a rat.
It's a singular rat.
It's
Singular
It's
rat.
just a
Singular rat.
It's just an awoken rat. That's all it is.
Awoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Doom Patrol? The rat who swears vengeance on one of the characters.
That that could be it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good place for us to take a little break as you guys go on a little walk around town, down the back streets. Back. All right. We'll see you then.
Are you sure you
You're a method actor.
Yes, exactly.
Hello. You all decided to start a wandering through the city in an attempt to find a strange individual that you met in a different city. It's not even a bad plan, is the thing that's funny about it. For that, you have started going through some of the lesser traveled streets of Abernir. The ones that run under buildings, the ones that contain storm drains and things, areas near, in the borders of districts, near butcher shops and sawdust, where all the sawdust gets kicked out from like a wood refinery, stuff like that. Places that are excellent for wandering, for strange occurrences. And it's on one of those streets, gloomy streets, walking past the kind of open air sort of tavern, sort of eatery, that you hear a screeching and a hollering and the flapping of wings, but the sound doesn't sound like bats. As you... It's Mothman?
It's Mothman.
Really big bats.
I don't have stats for Mothman. I have made stats for the Flatwood monster. Because I'm not basic enough to make stats for Mothman, but Flatwood, now that's more my speed. In 2 different settings too, which is like is completely irrelevant. You hear this flapping, this screeching, this hollering. A swarm of decapitated heads. They have bat-like wings stretching out from where the ears should be. The heads are vaguely dwarven. They do have beards, some still braided. They are faded and weathered and wretched and open-mawed and teeth already chattering to bite you. And you guys are going to get into a little bit of a fighty fight. I just need to know what I named this file. Is this the right street, or is this a spoiler?
Well, it's all black, so no spoiler.
It's all black, so whatever's in here is not a spoiler. Okay, this is the right place. Why is it all black? I will fix you. Oh, this map was made before the dynamic lighting change.
Ugh.
Ocean's just walking along, eating her yogurt, not expecting to get accosted by a horrifying flying head.
It is strange. It is a out of the way street. There is an area kind of like in that corner where there's a like opening that feeds down from above, and there's like storm drains and things. But it is a very surreal experience. The lot of you, I'm going to need you to start rolling initiative.
What the heck is going on here?
You know, of all
like
the
that
words
voice.
that we pronounce differently, it always gets me when y'all say yogurt.
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 Yeah. No, even I admit that one's a little silly, but I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, but yogurt.
I'm on brand.
I managed to roll lower than you.
Amazing.
Yeah, mine wasn't great.
You got a 16. That's the best we rolled today.
16. That's true. Catch Al got a 13.
Catch Up's gonna fuck this shit up.
Catch Al did have a character sheet ready. And these guys get a 19. So, they are going to act first. The swarm of decapitated heads. One is going to just very quickly get up and just start kind of like gnawing at you, Ocean. What's your AC? Oh no. Oh no, I've lost them. I've lost them all. What's your AC? Ocean? Hello?
It is 14.
14. Okay. You are going to be
There's a bit
hit.
of a desync between audio and video for us. It's just, it was really bad, and now it's like about half a
I've had
second
some
off.
weird shit too. I think it is Roll20's fault. Let me delete that, and that should help. I might be able to also make it a little bit nicer. If I do this, it'll be a little less dramatic. Whatever. It's already dramatic because you're in a corner. That should make it a little easier. So, 14, you are going to get hit by this creature biting at you. The unkept and unclean teeth, some starting to transform into more fangs, are going to deal poison damage. First of all, it's going to be 6 piercing damage, followed by 16 poison damage. And that's just one bite.
Well, if we keep our rolls up, this will be the last session. So it's been a
What happened to the mind of a Marty party? Oh, they got killed by a bunch of flying heads.
Yeah, flying heads showed up in an alleyway.
Yeah,
we died
when we were going to look for a chronomancer who we'd met in a different city.
The second attack against you is going to hit Ocean.
Why?
Because you have shit armor. And they got initiative
armor?
over you guys. It's going to be 5 piercing damage, followed by 7 poison damage.
Well, fuck me.
Rip.
You're down?
Yep.
Okay.
Catch Al, you better be good.
This head
Party.
is actually going to try and fly past Bogdan, which will provoke an opportunity attack.
Shit. No, why me?
Yeah, that's the Foley of this. You got it. Do you want to make an opportunity attack against the beastie that flies past?
Oh yeah.
Oshun just goes,
That's my best roll today.
That's a hit.
Yay!
The strike sends the thing off kilter, which means it has to kind of like work to get back into the right sort of angle to attack ASKII, and so does not actually get an attack off this turn. This one's going to fly at Bogdan. Start biting. What's your AC, Bogdan?
17.
That is higher than 10, so you are not bitten.
That's a little higher, yeah.
This one's going to try. And that one will hit. It's going to be 7 piercing damage plus 12 poison damage, and you should be resistant to poison as well.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I mean, you're a dwarf.
I have resistance to poison damage.
Yeah, all dwarves too.
All dwarves. Excellent. This head is going to fly up to Oshun on the ground and is going to sort of...
If we don't know, it didn't happen.
Press its forehead kind of like against yours, and kind of there's these little tendrils where the neck should be, and something's happening.
I don't like this.
That's very Dead Space.
Can you give me a charisma saving throw, Ocean? You are unconscious right now, but you can still make me a save.
Like take over your. It's gonna pilot your body.
Yourself is gonna be hurting. Woo! Woo! Okay, now you can make me a death save.
It's a parasite. Oh god, that's why it's dwarven heads, because a bunch of them have gone to a graveyard somewhere. Oh god.
Where the heck? There you are.
Death save is like pretty central, yeah. Well, despite everything, you look fine.
The baby's just there, like, yeah.
Yeah, the baby's just like punching him. Catcher Owl, what do you have in your bag of tricks? I don't remember. I made Catcher Owl a long time ago. That's not what I want.
Its nickname should just be Owl.
Why not Catcher?
Because Al sounds like he works down the street at the car repair shop.
The beetle repair yard.
I know an Albert, but I've never met anyone who goes by Al in my whole life.
I don't think I've known an Al. That's a good point. Are we sure that they even exist? Like,
I think it's fake.
No. Yeah. All being fake news all the time.
I had a professor in college who was named Alan, but he didn't go by Al.
Alan doesn't count. Alan is not Al.
It just doesn't count.
Yeah, it is not the same. Catch Al is going to do something. Don't worry, guys. You brought along a weirdo for a reason. He is going to...
He just explodes on the spot.
Well, you know, it's actually valid because, like, Catch Al's just kind of, like, hovering around, not really doing much, kind of following all you guys around. And then, like, these things happen, and Catch Al, like, visibly scoots back. And I don't actually have this on their character sheet, but they're going to cast the spell Confusion.
He looks just like you.
That is literally just emo Ashal. I haven't got a Catch Al token yet. They're going to cast it. Well, I mean, they are the same species. It's as close as I can get. They're going to cast it on you, Bogdan. There's no way they can get around it. It is a 20-foot sphere. 20-foot radius sphere. And so, Bogdan, can you please give me a wisdom saving throw? And then these 5 heads will have to do it as well. And the DC for Catch Al spells.
Finally,
excellent.
Break the chain.
You could see that the little guy was doing something weird, so you prepared for it. And yeah, there is going to just be this for a moment. The cloak of Catch Al just drops to the ground and just light
he's naked.
kind of erupts in the air, a bit similar to when Ashar casts their spells. It's like you can kind of feel the psionic energy, and then the cloak kind of slowly comes back up, but without, you can't see Catch Al's little face in the hood. It's just kind of like a shape right now, and all of them fail the confusion save. So
did we get figuratively and literally flashed?
Yep.
You got flashed by Catch Al, yeah. But all of those 5 guys, those 5 heads failed their confusion save, so they're going to be doing weird shit on their turns. Bogdan, it's you.
Right. I'm gonna start clapping. Yep. Since Oshun seems to be getting swarmed here, and I have reach, I'm gonna go ahead and target that one.
Okay, excellent. There is meant to be like a little bit of running water between the levels, by the way. I just deleted it to save computer space.
Okay, well, I'm not
a
vampire,
anything,
so yeah, I can cross running water. Trying to see mayhaps a spell, but I don't think so.
So bear in mind that Oshun is currently unconscious, not an H.
Oh, Oshun is already down?
Yeah, the token
in that case, I'm gonna cast
updated.
Enlarge as my action.
Oh, okay. Do you want to embiggen into the water or on the street?
How deep is it? Can I put
I mean,
one leg
it's
in
a
there?
storm drain. It's probably a foot or 2. You can be. As a big person, I don't think it would affect you at all.
I am now a big person, yeah. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and action surge and start twirling my weapon around like a crazy person. I will target this one right here.
Now, let me
the
check
same
if
one I targeted before.
Yeah, let me check if you get advantage against them. You don't. It's just they act randomly.
Okay. Yeah, so poleaxe against the first one right here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is a hit, actually.
Oh, well, I'll be dying. 5 gang.
5 gang twice on both dice.
Xylamos is in chat being like better than 5 gang, and I'm like, oh really? All right, I can hit him again. That's a little better.
That is a hit, yeah.
5 king.
The creature is split into and just kind of oozes. Kind of pops.
Oh, you know what? Oh, dang it! I'm supposed to do a D4. Would that have mattered? I'm supposed to do an extra D4 damage.
It could have mattered actually. Roll the D4 because if you got max, they would have killed it, and I would have allowed it.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, you can shuffle that extra attack to someone else. Re-roll it.
All right. Re-roll it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll attack this one then.
Ooh, dangerous. Oh, Potion likes a close shave. It's a hit.
Whoa.
Okay, and I'm gonna roll the D4. Ooh, way more damage.
Oh.
I think that's already dead, probably.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's one of those
17.
things where maybe even Ashal kind of cringes because the pole axe is giant and swinging down over Ocean's head, and it just lodges into the head of the headless flying dwarf head, and it's just and then the thing goes. They explode like flood, like the tiny flood. That's what they explode like.
Yes.
There we go. I knew there was something. That's what
They're hollow.
Yeah.
I got to the flood and literally couldn't play the game anymore. I was so scared of them.
What are you talking?
Does that mean you didn't
Halo.
get to the library? Because if you haven't played the library, you're not a true gamer.
It's classic gamer stuff.
I can't remember what
Here's some deep lore. My first console was an Xbox. Me and my brother got it for
Same.
Christmas, and we got 2 games for it: Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, and Fable. And both of those games gave me nightmares so much, but I didn't touch the console for like a year. Because
I played Dead Space when you were scared of these little creatures.
Yeah, and I'm the one who has nightmares over the films you show me.
that's love. They're married. Ashal, you are up next. I'm pretty sure you used everything that you could possibly use, Bogdan, right? That's everything?
Well, I could second wind it, but I'm gonna hold on to it.
Okay. Ashal, Catch-Al will actually telepathically kind of talk to Ashal, and it is palpably more than one Catch-Al that you're connected to, where it is I have boggled what minds they have. Take your strikes.
Thanks, babe.
I was really worried until I killed 2 of them.
Ashal glances.
They just got the
at,
early hit on you guys, you know? That's just literally how this one be.
Ashal glances at the thing fluttering in front of them, glances back at Oshun. I'm gonna risk the attack of opportunity to move back.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
What's your AC?
Like 10.
You are getting chomped on. You try to back up and it's just argh, on the shoulder. This is the worst enemy to get an opportunity attack from because it is just...
I know, but I can't...
No, for sure. 6 piercing. 15 poison.
I've nearly killed Oshun enough times myself. I can't let someone else finish the job. I mean, and then floating back in pain from being bitten in the shoulder, actually, I was just reaches down and places a hand on Oshun, and the shadows well around them, and almost channeled almost through Ashal onto Oshun, and her wounds start closing up because one of the blood mage spells I took, or one of the witch spells I took via blood mage, was cure wounds.
Ashal's magical history is complex. We're going through the lore of how magic works in Jarviskjir one at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's 5 points of healing and consciousness to Oshun. Oshun is still on the ground.
So you're a sorcerer, multi-class blood mage with witch spells.
Yes. Yes, because if you remember, I ate the brain of that witch.
Yes.
Yes. Also, all of my spells run off intelligence because I'm an Evimari. So you get 5 health.
Yay!
I'd put it on the thing.
You're at 5 health.
You don't count. There is no negative. It goes down to it technically goes down to -1, but that doesn't matter. It's just if you go to 0, you're stable. Negative is dying, and who knows what the head did. You definitely don't feel great.
Let's not find out.
There's also a fight happening.
If we all forget it collectively, nothing happens.
That's how it works, right?
See, this thing's just gonna follow me and bite on me again. And
Oh no, don't worry, that one isn't gonna bite at you first. This one's gonna fly over Oshun on the ground and bite at Ashal.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
It's gonna hit.
And Ashal's gonna fall into the storm.
It's gonna be 3. Just float away. It's gonna be 3 piercing damage.
The thing is, it wouldn't even be the first time I've had a character die while floating away. That's how Ocean in Flight died.
3 piercing damage, 12 poison damage.
Yeah, Ashal is very much down.
The thing is that Ashal's so weak that he's just like a bit of flotsam.
It is.
Like,
It's so perfect because Ashal is now face down in the storm drain and is kind of like a piece of debris.
Knew what they were doing. Ashal knew this was the likely outcome.
Thank you for helping me.
This one's gonna get up
So
behind
you're a damn
Bogdan,
cleric. Why am I healing you?
because the cleric needs to cast inflict wounds.
Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire.
Been able to buy armor.
Bogdan's gonna get bit.
Yay.
It's gonna be 8 piercing.
No, hang on. I want to cast shield. That brings my AC to 22.
Yeah. Ooh, it's gonna miss that first attack then. The second guy is going to try and bite. They have advantage because they're flanking you. They're kind of surrounding you and gnawing at you. But they can't quite get through the shield. And this one, I guess, is gonna bite Catcher Owl because I mean, like, why not? It rolls an 8. Catcher Owl's AC is 8. And Catcher Owl is going to get bit.
I'm going to ask a question, but
What
I know
do
the
you
answer.
see?
Am I the only one wearing armor?
Oshun is wearing armor, it's just like...
Decorative.
It's sick.
Decorative.
It's glamoured. It's transmogged.
Great.
And I mean, I'm a sorcerer.
And it's not
I can't
very
wear
good armor either. It's not like even the highest tier armor Oshun can wear. It's just that making big armor is expensive and hard, so you haven't really taken the time to do it. Or get like rings of protection or anything like that. These are things that you might want to do before you take on a king. Catcher Owl is going to take 6 piercing damage, then 7 poison damage, and for those who are watching, which is just Bogdan actually, you see the head kind of go in for the cloak and just start pulling rats out and crunching them.
Of who?
Of Catcher Owl.
No, the ratty.
Oshun, you
That's
are...
all. It's just a stack of rats.
Oshun, it's your turn. You are conscious. You are on the floor. Ashal is unconscious and in the drain. Bogdan is big. Catcher Owl is rats. It kind of feels like you have...
You woke up to a different reality. This isn't your normal reality.
You have the taste of like a really weird night happened last night. Like there is a gross gummy feeling in your mouth.
I need fried food.
Yeah. What would you like to do? It's half movement to stand up if you even want to stand up. What are you planning?
She's just gonna automatically like, ugh, and like whack out at something that's like near her face. And so like it's automatically going to vampiric touch to the first thing.
Yo, that's a hit. Yeah. That's a great idea. So
a fine hit.
it is. It should roll damage if you just click the bold
Speaking of
bit.
Fable, right? That quote's from Fable.
That is. All right, so you heal half
That's
of
1-5.
that.
That's 5 gang.
It
I
will.
quit. I let you all die.
It takes full necrotic damage.
You regain full health.
Yeah.
Yay!
Remember to do that to your token, because sometimes your token doesn't update properly. But the chat needs to see what your health is too. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's definitely... The life force comes out syrupy from the creature when you kind of swat at it. But it does come through, mama. Is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn? So it's very hot.
Do I have a potion? Yes. Okay, so
It is an action to give a
obviously-
potion to someone else.
So
It's an action. Thank you. Okay. So I'd like to get up. That's half movement, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to give a Shal the potion.
your vampiric touch is an action.
Yeah, you used your action.
Oh, okay, of course.
But you can basically get ready to do that next turn, if you want.
Yes.
Like, I have the potion ready. I can do it.
Would I be able to begin getting up?
Yeah, getting up's fine.
Sure.
Might I suggest getting up in a way that gives me flanking on this this schmuck?
Yeah, if you move down one. And in fact, if you move down one, Catch Owl will probably even... Down. Catch Owl will even kind of help you out. Because as you kind of back up and get to your feet, the back of your you're not wearing your big mama stomping boots anymore. You're barefoot. So you do feel you step on a rat's tail.
Take off more clothes.
Yeah. In between chapters, Ocean is wearing less clothes, but the AC is the same.
Picture us traversing more forests. And I didn't...
No forests anymore. You're in dwarf lands. It's the city clothes.
Yeah.
And you can turn down to see that the cloak Catcher Owl is wearing is just kind of being worn like a cape by a swarm of rats right now that is fighting one of these creatures. And by fighting, I mean trying to get away. There appears to be one big rat in the middle of the swarm, and all of them kind of have a glow about their head. The big rat actually has kind of a tail, like a tadpole tail, that comes from the back of its head.
Ew.
And it's
I no longer find it as cute.
the swarm is going to grab the potion from your hand and feed it to a Shal.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, fucking pick up one of the rats, huck it towards the pile.
Yeah. Basically, so
You forgot your foot?
was it a regular healing potion?
Oh,
Ollie, this is really peaceful music for the fact that
I
we're getting
don't
attacked
know.
by...
This is the battle playlist. What is this
Yeah,
doing
is
in
it?
here?
Like,
It has been really calm. Get out of here. Why don't I switch the music to We Are the Warriors?
Well, debatable at the moment, but
My friend.
We are the warriors.
Was it
singular.
a regular healing potion, Zoe, that you plucked out?
yes.
Okay. 2d4 plus 2 healing to a Shal from a little rat friend.
Oh, I love them.
You see,
again.
you wake up to about like a half dozen beady rat eyes, kind of looking over you, kind of swaddled up in
Yeah.
Catch Owl's cloak.
Could it be a little crown instead of a weird little protrusion?
It is like a weird. I mean, it is weird, but it's also like kind of cool.
Could it be like a jewel? Does the protrusion move at all? That
Oh,
is
the like the tentacle at the back of the head. Yeah, it's a little wiggly.
No, thank you.
It's almost like it has another tail there, but it's like chunkier. Bogdan.
I still.
This one's for Ian. Making a
Oh boy,
character
here
who's a
I go
swarm of
again.
rats is fan service for Ian. Some people want Babooba. Ian wants rats.
Yeah.
Ian
and
wants-
Babooba.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the one that I'm flanking, so that gives me advantage.
Yep. Oh, that's a double miss, my friend. The one time you try to strategize, and you just ain't
This
gonna
is what
happen.
happens when you don't 5-gang. Okay, I'll attack him again with my second attack.
Yeah. That's more like it.
Marginally better.
That's
yeah,
so
okay.
much better.
All right, and
This was actually the one you already struck, I think. So it's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
taken some really serious damage and goes down. Pops.
get dead. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, next is Shal, who is conscious in the drain.
And Charlotte just floats back up
like
to the out of the drain.
He just gets washed down the sewer.
Oh no!
I can just see the camera angle. It's you know, when someone like
flushed.
stands up and the camera moves with them, but it's like really slow.
Like,
Blush me, Jay.
Ashal is just like, oh, these are new clothes, damn it.
I got these at Macy's.
Are either of these things the ones that were hurt? Or
Yeah, the lowest one has already been struck once by like a glancing blow.
The sound of the umbral plane fills the air, and I'm using Toll the Dead on that.
What's the sound of the umbral plane?
It's like
The nice thing is that it's a big place. It could be whatever. Oh, that would be good. But do you know how hard it was for him to get that song in Thor Ragnarok? Imagine me trying to get it. Oof.
Fair enough.
I'd have to sell many organs.
Luckily, you have spares.
Toll the Dead. Yeah, but all my organs are bad and trying to kill me. Wisdom
Donate
save.
stem cells?
I can't donate anything. I've crap goods. It's like a shard down the drain. It's gonna fail. It's gonna take the damage. It's going to actually not pop because the way you killed it. It's gonna just kind of cease and flop to the ground, which makes it kind of like. It's weird to say. It's bigger on the ground because it's kind of like. But yeah.
I used my blood points, so I can't essence trap one of them for experimentation.
Well, you have a body.
Oh darn.
I have a body.
Okay. We have a Hulk. It's Bogdan right now, basically. They're just gonna bite you, Bogdan. Shield isn't
That's
up.
my secret. I'm always enlarged.
You might want to get that looked at.
Consult your Kyrusian.
Consult your doctor.
Enlargement
if you're
lasts for
enlarged.
more
It's more than
hours.
12 hours.
Okay. It's gonna bite you. It's gonna just barely get through your armor. It's one of those things where the constant biting, once it gets to the kind of like the dwarven chain and stuff, it's just gonna start doing this kind of abrasive damage anyway. It's gonna be 6 piercing, followed by 11 sweaty poison damage. Those are sweaty d6. Let it be known. And then the second one is going to be trying to bite at your back. It's also going to hit. It's going to be 3 piercing.
And he's back.
And oh, did you miss me for a sec?
Yeah. Did he hit?
Okay. Yeah, the second one did hit.
Rude.
For 3 piercing plus 12 poison.
It's good thing I'm resistant to poison.
Yeah.
I'd probably be down by now.
Next up is Ocean. They're the ones that are attacking are just focused on Bogdan right now, and Bogdan is taking the hits,
Yeah, glass cannon, high attack.
but not surviving.
Excuse me, I'm not surviving?
No, taking hits, surviving, but waning. That's what I meant. You know, it's clear.
Okay, yeah.
It's clear that like you can't do this forever.
Okay.
Your Vampiric Touch is still up, by the way. Remember, because we haven't had a fight for a long time. Vampiric Touch is a concentration spell that gives you the ability to Vampiric Touch over and over for like a minute. So you could just run up and smack one,
Just bash it into
like
the floor.
like basketball. Well, because like Ocean is definitely just smacking people with them.
Make these things catch hands.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to get this one.
You.
How far is my reach? Can I
Your
ask?
reach is 5 foot around you, so you
Right.
can't reach that, and it would be a little difficult to get through Ashal and Catch-Al in the storm drain.
Why not step over the storm drain? Just push them down.
So let me do some. I might reset the timeline. Let me try and do the math for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can get within melee
awesome.
range.
Yeah, just gonna like bound.
You have advantage.
You have advantage on this attack too because it's a melee. It's a melee weapon attack. was a melee spell attack, so you get advantage on it.
I have for these weapons.
Yeah. It's actually a kind of amazing move for Ocean, the more I think about it. This is why Ashal is taking healing spells. That is a hit.
Same number.
9, so you heal 4 of that. You smack the floating dwarven bat head, and it kind of hits the ground, manages to get back up and get back to flying. Catch Owl is going to just do something basic, I think. Catch Owl is going to cast Vicious Mockery on the one you just hit. And is going to deal a little bit of extra damage. Is going to swiftly scurry away. Bogdan.
Okay, I'm going to attack the injured one because I don't want to get flanked anymore. Oh, did I still have... Let me reroll.
You still have advantage. Oshun is giving advantage.
That's
Oshun
right.
is
Then
just
I hit.
ever so slightly, like the token's ever so slightly smaller than you, just because it's
Yeah.
like that. But,
I had the sheet covering everything, so I just kind of spaced. Okay, so
oh yeah, that one pops.
Okay.
It's a beautiful display of the backhand into the little bit of magic, and then just swing.
Kind of wish I did that to the full health one, but that's okay. I'll attack the full health one, and I will toggle off advantage.
Sometimes you gotta take care of the ads.
Okay,
Never
I
mind. Your
big
boot
miss.
gets stuck in the spawn drain.
Okay, and then I think I'm gonna move.
Your boot's stuck in the storm drain. I'm gonna need an athletics check before you move.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit.
Yeah. But then there's the second one. Yes! Yes!
Oh my god, it's a repeat of the triple ones from the Monday session.
Oh, it's good.
Hang on. 5 gang?
Yeah, an unnatural 5 accrued through ones. Yeah, it's one of those things where you like try and like, oh, I can move to a new tactical position. Boot stuck in drain, clink of armor, something pulls where it shouldn't. You're here for a bit. You're here until you shrink again, probably.
So yeah, Bogdan's getting like bit up, but this moment his eyes widen and they start to swell.
Pennywise
that's
is
me.
like, we all float
Actually, no.
down
I'm gonna go ahead and second wind because I don't.
Good.
I don't
Smart.
think this fight's gonna need it, but hey, what the hell?
You don't want to have needed it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Okay, Ashal, you're up next.
Okay. Okay, time for some thinking with portals. I am going to... no, I don't have that meta magic. I'm so used to having that meta magic, and I don't have it on this character. But I don't... Yes, I do need it. I apologize.
Fair enough.
Yes. Okay, my thinking with portals doesn't work, so this is going to be a bit more basic. 1, 2,
You're thinking
3,
with
4,
doorways.
5. Yeah. Well, my thing is, I'm so used to having Quicken Spell on like all of my sorcerers. I was going to use Quicken Spell to activate my free movement on casting a spell, and then I could get flanking on this thing, but I'm not going to get flanking.
I see. This is why we do the
instead-
flanking, because sometimes you can do bullshit, and sometimes the enemies do bullshit, and sometimes just nothing happens, but that's the way it is.
In this case, though, as Charlotte's just going to float round and just reach out and attempt to grab the head as the shadows like crawl over them and down the arm into the head as I use Break Form.
Ooh, Constitution save against a flying head. Don't mind if I do. It was close, but it does fail. It does take 10 acid damage. It has no resistance to acid, which
Break
is
form
interesting.
sounds like you just take it and like break it over your knee.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a spell for
as I say,
artificers for a reason.
And it's not dead, drat.
It's
Well,
not dead. It's going to try and bite Bogdan. It's going to bite Bogdan. Kind of wrestles free of your like shadowy grip and just kind of bites at everything. Ashal can lurch back quickly enough. Bogdan is entrenched. It's It's going to be 7 piercing plus 11 poison. Now,
Ow.
Ocean, on your turn, this is a small dwarven corridor way. I mean, it's quite big even for a dwarven one. It's not really an easy way for you to get within, like, combat range of that person there. Because, you know, this is the downside of having 2 big boys. What would you like to do?
Could, with Bogdan's help, could I acrobatics, like, over
Thin
his...
roofs. You wouldn't have enough space to vault over Bogdan, really.
Okay, I'm gonna huck a knife.
Yeah.
Maybe I should...
You can always huck a knife. It's already been hit, so you don't need big damage.
Yeah, alright. Huck a knife. Oh no! We're not flanking
You
anymore,
do not
are
have
we?
advantage, yeah. Please reroll.
Okay.
You do not have advantage. Please reroll. It's a hit.
A hit.
And that's a kill! The dagger, whoosh, sails, the head impales on the far wall.
Away.
Yeah. And just enough for the head to go like, yeah. And that's that fight over. Excellente. A little sweaty, but aren't we all? Yeah, what would be your guys' immediate reactions to all that? Yeah, that could be one. There is a lot of goo in the air.
So, last time I was here, that didn't happen.
Ashala's immediately just radiating that calm healing to everyone.
Is everyone okay? Is everyone okay? Is everyone...
And is going to go and recover the body of that one that didn't poof.
Okay, so that is 4 temp and 5 regular healing for everyone. Okay.
Yep. Do I know what these things are, or do I have any idea?
You could make me an Arcana or Religion check.
I will. Well, okay. It's a bat head.
It's squishy.
It is connected to a realm of magic you have hitherto yet unknown. But it is a preserved head of... Well, presumably, it is just the head. And you've already made some assumptions already. But this is the preserved... Like, it is in fine quality. You know, to re-describe, because now you've got it here, dead, in your hands. It is a dwarven head, although slightly shrunken. But probably just from, like, death. Where ears would be are just bat wings that have kind of grown from the flesh. And the teeth have kind of... Well, the gums have kind of receded, making the teeth a little bit more dangerous. Some of the teeth have turned to fangs, and kind of round the chin, in the beard, where the neck, like, stump is, are kind of, like, not quite grasping tentacles. Because they're only, like, 2 inches long. But they were prehensile enough.
That's getting pocketed for later study.
You need formaldehyde. You need to carry around jars of formaldehyde.
You imply that Charles doesn't?
Well, it needs to be an actual, like, character sheet thing you can whack out and be like, here is my empty jar of formaldehyde.
Rakath did that.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, I have vials. I'm not sure I have any vials of formaldehyde on me.
No, you wouldn't right now, because that is, like, not the easiest stuff to travel around with. You could get some to leave at the house.
Sounds like fun. What? What?
Some
Marty
magic.
once told me.
Magic from a plane I am unfamiliar with. If I had my guess, these are probably from corpses from a local or nearby cemetery or equivalent that the wall has infected by some sort of entity from that realm.
Has this happened before? Is this normal for you?
Oh, no, not at all. No. Last time I was here, this wasn't here. Yeah.
Good God. Nobody warned us.
There's not really anyone around. There is like a little, like, kind of, not quite a tavern, but an eatery around the corner. But there's not really anyone around right now.
We should ask there when we are done here. Like, sure, a cut purse, perhaps a sex worker, maybe, but no sex worker's gonna fly at you with bat wings going, yeah!
Well, not in any of the fun establishments.
Catcher Owl will, at this time, of reformed up into vaguely tiny gnome shape, and then casts an illusion to have an Ebamari face. Though noticeably, there are a couple of dead rats on the floor.
No!
Which Catcher Owl, I mean, doesn't look sad at, but is like, does kind of take the time to actually pluck them up.
Catcher Owl.
As this is a moment of distraction, you might just catch out of the corner of your eye, like the shadows that have sort of been a bit more cloying around Azshal than normal do seem to drain away, and with it, Azshal just like strength is being pulled from their body a little bit.
Catcher Owl, it appears that you are assembled of a series of rats.
This is correct.
Is that normal?
No, I am not the only one of my kind who has had such a procedure. But it does make me excellent for your needs as an assistant.
A very good boy.
Yes,
Girl,
I
actually.
see how that could...
Technically.
Congratulations.
Worth, I'm sorry that you lost some of your constituent parts. Are they friends?
Catcher Owl will step up and will from the sleeves, the big rat will kind of like come out as if it's kind of on the hands, and is noticeably a big mama rat, and will telepathically say, he's like, they are the brood. In a sense, Catcher Owl is she. But we are all Catcher Owl, all connected. I did not lose enough of them to feel too injured by it, but it could be dire. The brood will reconstitute in time.
I love the idea because Ian loves rats so much that this is a 180 for Ashal.
Ashal hates it.
But then now he's like, yes.
I think Azshal, I like my excuse for Azshal is that Azshal is interested by this as an unusual being.
But really, you have some affection.
Ian has a lot of affection for this. Azshal doesn't. Azshal has an.
Azshal is like against Catcher Owl's faction, basically. But you know, and then the big mama rat will kind of like it will go up in through the head of the cloak, kind of through the illusion.
So cute.
Yes, I find rats crawling about and entering the faces of people extremely cute. That's why I watched 1922.
And Catcher Owl just kind of like shuffles into the right sort of shape, and then is just kind of there for any other kind of discussions that you need. I dare say that such creatures are inherently unnatural. And the fact that there is no alarm, nor this is a war on the streets, means that this most likely has been occurring in these streets for some time.
Which means there is a source. extraplanar entities making themselves at home within corpses. Now, where have I heard that before?
I don't know, where have you had it before?
The asylum.
Ah,
Well,
yes.
I suppose that was not extraplanar entities making themselves at home in corpses, but it was close enough. It would not surprise me if we found a place similar to that here. What is the word?
I always forget the damn Jarviskjir term.
Manifestation zone. It's actually an Eberron tone.
Eberron tone.
I will admit that one is because it's perfect. There are some Jarviskjir equivalents. Slip space is a specific portal. A manifestation zone is an area where the borders are thin. But yes, and Catch Owl will nod in agreement.
Can we offer you any assistance in any way, Catch Owl? And I suppose no conventional healing will suffice.
Food.
Food. Thought so. Food. Do I have a ration? Well, there's a tavern. Would you like to inquire about this hellscape right now or after our wanderings?
I think we could all do to get off the street for a bit.
We could all do some food.
Okay. The tavern is really just right around the corner, and it really is kind of an open doorway. It's like a half-open door where it's like you can tell that you're kind of allowed in. But it's not the most welcoming place. This isn't like a tavern on a busy street for merchants. This is like a tavern that some of the nearby people come to get their meals at. And as such, it's not the most pleasant place, but it's also not unpleasant either. I mean, it's like a kind of middling quality looking place. There are some kegs on the walls. There are some nice looking stone tables. There are some candles that give the place a dim light, which is more light than you were really going off in that street. There are a couple of laborer dwarves just kind of having their food at this time of day. And there would be probably 2 people working here. One at what is essentially the front bar, and then one kind of in the back. You can see sort of doing things, moving things around and such. And they would be laborer caste dwarves as well.
Ashal just looks at Bogdan and the others. I don't eat in this sense.
I was literally... Oshun has a moment where she thinks, let's get a rodent or something for a shawl, and then goes... like, looks towards Catcher Owl.
It is a great unfortunate that the one time we face 5 heads, that none of them have anything for you.
That does suck.
Hello. We need a table and meals for 2.
Right.
3.
Oh, 3. Yes, right. I forgot.
Technically 4 because you're massive. Because Ocean does eat more than a regular person. Let me get the price for that. There is the thing. You're in a tavern, like a locals tavern, as a bunch of foreigners from different species. You're getting stared at a little, but not rudely. Just like I have never. And also because Oshun doesn't hide her spider face anymore, so there is also staring at that. Let me get the...
What, y'all never saw a giant woman with a spider face before?
Baby!
It would be... Let's say you can get all those meals for $1 here. Right? Just 1 gold and all of it would be...
What would you like to eat, Catcher Owl?
The
Who's doing the gold?
specifics...
I've got 35.
The specifics do not matter to me. I merely need... If you could consider it like a... charcoal-powered engine. I need food for the fire to produce new young. to become the swarm, which is me.
No, you just no, I don't.
If you do, there's no head there. You can't scritch the catcher owl. You'd have to.
Where the.
You have to find where the lumps are, or put a hand in the robe. Very, very saucy. But as catcher owl is vaguely female identifying, just kind of a sort of they she, could be part of Ocean's lesbian harem. Who knows? We'll see. The meals would be very simple. It would be a kind of just made of the regular kind of dwarven foodstuffs. Probably a kind of mushroom soup.
When you said charcoal, I was like, so you want your burger well done?
Yeah. Which is the only way you're getting a burger in a dwarven land, so.
Yeah, but is it going to be Beyond Meat Burger?
Well, yeah, you're only getting mushrooms and bread here.
Yes!
Dwarves like meat, but they also don't. I guess it's kind of more of maybe that Japanese thing was like, okay, we'll have meat for special occasions. You know?
People always say that. Japan is.
Is that a thing?
I think
it's an ancient thing. Mm.
Yeah, it's an old thing because, like.
They probably didn't have a lot of pasture land back in the Dizzy.
Well, yeah, that's probably.
It's definitely just the eradication of culture.
Yeah, so it's a vegan meal. But the dwarves, if you go, I want a vegan meal, they'd be like, what's that? Sounds silly. But it is a vegan meal in some stone bowls, and Catch Al will, again, just kind of like scoop the, like, sit in a chair and will scoop the bowl to their person.
Just 100 little rat tongues.
There's not that many rats. There is probably like 8 rats right now. Not a big swarm.
8?
No, actually, how many? I have a number here.
How many jelly beans are in this jar?
Yeah. But then, yeah, so the Catcher Owl just, it doesn't look like Catcher Owl's eating, but Catcher Owl just kind of is like holding the bowl, and the bowl is steadily going down as the rat mama that is Catcher Owl will be slurping. And the rest of you can eat as well. It is hearty food. It's probably exactly what you need after like a pretty rough fight like that. The other dwarves in the tavern are kind of like glancing at y'all, but you're staying and you're quiet. I don't really mind. There's like 2 other patrons here.
Okay. Once Bogdan's finished his food, he's gonna head up to the bar and try to chat with the person behind it.
Mm-hmm. You saunter on up. They'll kind of like glance to like everything okay? You need more food?
The food was well, we do need another bowl. But other than that, it was excellent. No, I'm more interested about this neighborhood. My companions and I were recently attacked by flying heads, and I wondered if that was a normal thing.
Not common, but it has happened before on this street.
Any idea when it started?
It has been, 2 years or so. Every now and again, there's strange creatures that sometimes lurk in darker streets of the city.
I like his voice. That's particularly good.
It's been some time since I've been in Abu Nar, and I don't recall this.
Some
2
people
years,
say they're demons. I don't know demons from scrag beetles, but it goes back to polishing a bowl.
Do you know anyone nearby who would know more?
Every now and again, there's people who go around hunting them. Some people will give their city's pittance to monster hunters. Now, you would know, Bogdan, pretty much most dwarves, depending on what rank you are in the city, get a basically universal basic income of gold and food.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's one of the reasons why they're so farming based. All the farmers get a dedicated income, and it's one of the better ones for just being like a baseline working in the fields farmer. And as works with real universal basic income, people will actually spend it on when they don't need it on things like this. So he's saying that, yeah, some people do spend, but common folk spend the money on monster hunters who come through. Sometimes.
I see. Well, thank you. Is there a god post nearby?
No. Past where the drain comes down from above, sometimes a paladin will check for cut purses and things down there.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. And the meal was excellent. Ollie, how much did you say it cost?
It was 3 silver a bowl, and then I kind of shuffled it up to 1 gold for everyone.
1 gold?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. I pay him.
Yeah, that's a good point from Xylemos. There's the clicking of mandibles and the chomping of rats at the table. The animal noises are increasing at the dinner table for this party.
Ashal is just hovering there, slightly awkwardly.
Probably looking at a head.
It's like just writing something in a.
And Ocean will be like,
rough
not at the
notebook.
table.
This is a good point. You definitely should have that at the table.
Ashal just turns away.
Alrighty. You got a little information, but you know, it's kind of a, yeah, this is a thing that's happening. It happens.
I was thinking like, oh, how unpleasant to think about Catch Al eating, and then I was like, bitch, you have a spider face with like lots of like.
Yeah, and it's soup too, which is not going to be easy to eat for Ocean.
Yeah, soup. That's the horrible thing. Like if it's like solid food,
Yum, 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 yum,
and
yum,
you,
yum.
like dig something into it, but you can't pour anything in, and it's like, well, maybe hold the bowl very far up, and then like
The
you
mandibles
pick
can
up-
kind of hook and
Yeah.
like there's definitely a way to do it, but it's definitely designed for a creature small enough to like where water acts differently. Drinking liquids is a little hard for you, for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to do here, and like how long do you kind of want to stay here? I mean, eating a full meal for the ones of you who are eating is a little while. Probably at least half an hour.
Why don't we do a full hour and let's go ahead and grab that short rest? Question mark.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. Okay.
For some reason, I feel like I have to rest.
During a
We
short,
barely even gone anywhere.
the short rest, you can all start patching up your wounds. This is one of those ones where you're probably you're eating the meal, you're in a nice calm place. The bites aren't that bad, but you tend to them. So go ahead and start doing your hit dice if you wish to do so.
Ocean's beginning to feel a bit less critical of herself with food and like drink.
Of course, 1d8.
And you know, kind of by the end of that meal, you're starting to feel really extra hungry, Ocean, and you don't even really care how you eat. Like it starts to get a little messy. Doesn't even matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
At the end of the hour, your charisma score, Ocean, is reduced by 1.
I suddenly feel less cool. Nobody panic. I suddenly feel less charming.
You do feel noticeably different. Remember when I said you had that feeling of like a real rough night?
Yes, I remember that, Ollie.
It's that kind of gummy, bad nap feeling. and your hair feels frizzy, and your mandibles feel like they need to click and move more. And there's a crick in your neck.
Gross. Oh no. That thing did something to me. I thought that it would be okay when they were all dead, as most of our problems are resolved.
Let me examine.
Do you see any legs other than these ones? I mean,
Let me examine you.
I'm casting enhance ability on myself to give me advantage on wisdom checks.
Okay, and then a wisdom-based medicine check. I wish there was a way to make it on the sheet that medicine was just intelligence-based for some characters, because it really does fit. No, yeah, I always forget to say it because in my brain it's intelligence-based. So you can do an intelligence-based medicine check for sure.
I don't have proficiency in medicine anyway, so...
Okay. Yeah. That's perfect then. I mean, it makes sense for some characters to be wisdom-based, but it kind of makes sense of both as well. Because they're all like proper surgeons here. Considering this is an extraplanar entity, that it's not just the bites, because the rest of you don't feel bad, but there was definitely a poison strength-sapping aspect. It was whatever it did with that kind of dance and the tentacles. There is some kind of curse working through Ocean right now. Slowly, actually, not even that slowly, working through her. You can reckon, based on the difference, and there's kind of like a little, like, veiny lines forming where the head meets the neck, which is a weird space anyway you're on this Ocean, that you have probably around 14 hours to work out what this is and cure it before it would be very far gone. Perhaps even turning into one of those creatures.
It is a curse beyond my immediate ability to cure.
You have a great bedside manner.
And we should take her to the church.
I was going to say, divine magic. Does your goddess not bless you with the ability to remove curses?
Ollie, does my goddess...
If you have, as a cleric, you have access to every cleric spell every morning.
Yeah.
Sure.
You would need to...
Is it ceremony?
Remove curse.
Remove curse. So yes, you'd have to go back home, get a long rest, pray, get the remove curse spell, and then use it on yourself.
And hope that it solves the issue.
And hope it solves the issue. And if it doesn't solve the issue, that's 8 hours out of your 14-hour timer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that gods in D&D are like, I'm off duty. You picked your spells.
Yeah,
the
logic in Faerun as well, it's not quite the same in Jarviskjir. The logic in Faerun is that you are specifically asking for those spells when you pray in the morning as well, which is even funnier. Because, like, the god's like, well, you've chosen a bunch of RP spells, and I know for a fact you're fighting a dragon today. But you know what? You ask.
The church would be a best bet. I would not chance it to rogue healers and mages that live in these areas. The difficulty is in revealing ourselves in some way. I don't know. It is our best option. I would not... It's certainly not something that we wish to chance.
I'm suddenly feeling the urge to make puns. Oh. Terrible.
Does your church help outsiders with things like this, Bogdan?
Do they, Ollie? I don't know.
You've probably never seen a not dwarf in any church to the voice, other than maybe ones on like the very edges of the country, because there are, you know, deep goblins and stuff that work with farmland. To
be honest, the only chance we have of even being admitted to see a powerful enough cleric would be to use our diplomatic status. But it's either that or wait until the morning and hope nothing happens. I'm willing to chance it if you are.
Well, I was going to go to sleep and then pray to Ivrith. But why not do it within the church of an established organization?
Because if it takes us too long to get there and have a conversation, then we lose our other
Well,
one.
I'll be asleep. I'm sorry, I'm feeling less charismatic.
The issue is the travel time and convincing them we cannot carry you.
You can probably get to the lead cathedral in like 2 hours. If Oshun is not with you, Oshun cannot be cured.
Oh.
Now that's not including getting in, but just travel time around the city.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Okay.
My head to fly off.
Let's go.
my shoulders?
Yeah. I mean, it would get there faster.
All right. You start on the way back through the cathedral ward, back to the core cathedral of the Voice, where you were earlier today, Bogdan, at kind of dawn time. It is an incredibly impressive building. The best way to describe it is to imagine kind of an Anor Londo Dark Soulsian building, where it's just very beautifully designed, and the design is beautiful because it is deserving of the goddess to have a beautiful place to reside, practically, within the city. It's basically how it's considered. The Voice flows from here throughout the city. As such, a bit like the holy district in Narashiro, there is a space outside. There's a grand stairwell that goes close towards the cathedral, and you're not stopped going in, though, of course, the paladins keep an eye on you. Would you immediately go up to someone and basically ask for aid? What's the plan here?
I mean,
and who is going to talk?
I'll do the speaking as a dwarf, and I'll just lay it out. I'm like, we're representatives of Ulkshua for the Alliance, and one of our members have come down with a curse, and we need immediate clerical aid.
The paladin you speak with listens and nods. As a member of the clerical caste, they have slight, kind of usually pale sigils on their skin, usually very symmetrical, kind of naturally formed tattoos. And she will nod and look over the gaggle of people with you. Who is it who has this curse? What is it?
My companion, Ulkshua. Not Ulkshua.
Oshun.
Oshun. Both O's. They're both O's.
When Zoe came up with the character name, I was like, that's gonna be a problem, but it's also too good of a name to not use.
You're welcome.
You are not just a usurper elf, but you are something different of their kind, clearly of your goddess, correct?
Yep. I've ascended to the will of Lady Ivrith.
She turns her head to Bogdan. Her pauldron's kind of clanking. They have a kind of very heavy armor sort of thing, and she's currently leaning on like a maul. Any blessings to such an entity will be difficult, but possible. Would you allow me to examine you before I make any promises that may not be able to be kept? She will, like, side head nod, take you to an area that is a little quieter than, like, the main halls, and do a very similar thing to what Ashal did. The advantage of, you know, the essentially police in this city being paladins is they actually do know how to deal with this stuff. A lot of places in Jarviskjir wouldn't. And she does recognize it. But what she says after a time is, the difficulty is not in unwillingness. Our blessings are made for our kind, and you are strictly different. You would need to be baptized by the voice for us to cure this curse within you.
Wow.
Would you be willing to do such a thing?
I'm feeling something that feels like adultery for the first time in my life.
She has an unpleasant expression on her face.
This is going funny.
Bogdan's just gonna it's your choice.
Wow. Well, how long would it take to become baptized, as it were, and then for the assistants to...
Once you are baptized, if the voice is willing to take you into her hands, the cure can be applied swiftly. It will take some time. It might have to be adjusted for you. It is unprecedented for an ascendant of Ivrith to be baptized by the voice. But I think it is possible, if you are willing. Truly. If you are only here for a cure that only we can give, and you have that treacherous sin within you, then she will not take you.
As Charles' telepathy, you would feel the touch in your mind, and just like the echo of the voices.
There is a lot of ifs and buts here.
Far more many buts. She's not going to finish that joke. She's not very good at it right now. But I think that you will feel like a sense that beneath the fog, there's a very clear core. And that core is saying to become baptized, but those two things are not necessarily connected. What's the harm, I suppose? I mean, I feel as though I could attempt to remove this curse, but that would be within at least 8 hours. I say we begin with our strongest gambit. Why not?
As Charles will, as you're saying this, as Charles, who's probably a little bit distance away, will this time extend telepathy to Bogdan, and we'll just say telepathically, I will return to the estate and start studying this creature, see if I can make any headway.
Headway!
See if I can make any headway with a study, and perhaps chance upon an alternative cure. It is a long shot, but if things do not go well, it might be the best we have. And we'll just float around the other way and leave the way they came in, head back to the estate.
Bye.
The paladin, who does appear to be a paladin of some rank, will extend her hand to you, Ocean, to come, and will say that Bogdan should probably follow. I guess Catch Owl will probably go with Ashal.
For assistance in studying this thing.
So perfect that it's rats. So perfect.
And now Bogdan, you kind of actually know, although you probably haven't seen one in a long time, what this ritual will be. The baptism is not complicated. You are taken to a specific place, although there are conversations that she has in mixtures of Dwarven and Celestial with other people, because this is unprecedented. And you kind of get the impression that it's like, maybe if you talk to you just talk to the right random person who's actually kind of interested in trying this. Amongst our religious divine casters, there's a lot of people who kind of do want to do a little bit of experimentation, and this is an experiment, and it's also kind of the right thing to do. You are taken to an area that is actually higher up in the cathedral, and the far wall of this chamber is natural, unsmoothened rock. It's not the same chamber that you prayed at before, where you can see the face of the voice. That's false. This is just the wall. Just the stone. There is a view of the city, and the air flows through. And it's a very fresh air, despite being in a cave above a city. It's a very fresh air that flows through this chamber. And this paladin will kind of instruct two others, and using mold earth-like spells, a chamber will open in the stone. Still rough-hewn, but a chamber that starts off as just kind of a 10-foot by 5-foot cube, essentially. And the paladin will kind of motion. You will stand inside. You will be embraced by the wall, and you will hear her voice. When you are ready. And will actually look to Bogdan. I can tell that you are with her. If there's anything you would wish to... Any wishes of luck you would wish to tell her beforehand, now would be the time.
Bogdan will look up at Oshun and say, I'm not sure how polytheism will work in the grand scheme of things, but I want you to know that this moment is historic and really, really useful.
Noted. Thank you very much, Bogdan. It's time I've spoken to a god. Let's give it a go.
I imagine you give Bogdan the baby for a second.
Could you imagine what a spider throwing up would look like?
Yeah.
I watched Ollie thinking about that. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Coming to Schism soon.
Here, hold the baby.
You are led into the chamber in the wall, which will first, the edges will conform to your shape.
And
This hole was made for me.
This hole was made for you. To the point where, with the temperature of the wall, you kind of stop feeling the difference between skin and wall. Even through your armor and such. And then the front, blocking you into darkness. Even with your dark vision and your sort of spidery senses, you start to feel like all of that get taken away, and you just sense kind of an increasing nothing. Which, I mean, how does it make Ocean feel? Is that an anxious thing, or is that a pleasant thing? Because that's a big difference between people.
A divide at one moment where it could either become intense claustrophobia, like trapped in a grave kind of thing, or it could be weighted blanket. And Oshun makes that choice to try and like repress and shut down the anxiety, or like the image of being trapped or airless, and goes towards the coolness, the darkness, and the stillness, the aloneness. Because does she, for the first time, like, does she feel cut off from Ivrith?
If you want to, yeah, for a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a discussion we're probably going to have between streams, but I would say that, yeah, as another god is kind of directly interfering, you probably do feel disconnected for a bit.
I think in that moment, Oshun's gonna be distracted from like everything that's happening. Forget who she is, like what is happening, like all that stuff, because she's for the first time in her life being presented with the question of like, who is she? Like divorced from everything, because she's never not been in contact with Ivrith. She's never not been different or outside or talked about. So now that she's like not even connected to the voice of Ivrith, she's just a big woman, and she's like, what do I do? Do I like knitting? Like, do I like how I present myself? Do I speak in the way that like I do naturally? What is natural? What is nature and nurture? Just for a second there, where she just goes, oh, and it's like, you're a person. She's a person for the first time.
You do hear, could be your subconscious, it could be Ivrith, but you do hear just a very comforting voice just say, breathe. And as you take that breath in, the wall opens up. It kind of crumbles. The front crumbles and falls to the ground. And you can take a step out. Maybe feeling different, maybe not feeling different. The front crumbles and you can take a step out. Baptized by the voice and the wall. Very swiftly, this paladin will approach with a kind of like proud look on their face, and they will encourage you to kneel, and they will put a thumb on your forehead and kind of make a sigil in their hands and utter out a very choral, throaty hum of prayer in Celestial. And with that, you feel the fog that was kind of like it was in your head and your throat at the same time, like a bad flu, just like expel. And it probably would actually be breathed out as a gas, honestly. Which, yeah, we'll just kind of.
Oshun whips out a fan.
Yeah. And your charisma score will increase because it did go down by 3 points.
Oh,
there.
damn.
Yeah, it goes back to what it was, but it will you might get some boons from this experience. We'll have to talk about it, but your charisma recovers instantly, and the curse is lifted. Done. There is some murmurings amongst the clerics and paladins, but again, like Bodden said, it's like it's important, but also not so. Like it's because it's so sudden. It's just like it just happened and it worked. It raises questions.
Yeah, she's definitely surprised that there wasn't a huge long conversation with an entity, like a dialogue, and also like a fight through wills and through like wit and stuff. So she just is like, yeah, definitely taken aback for a moment where she's just like, I didn't have to fight with someone or something or reason for what I want or discern, or just happened. And then she sort of gathers herself and goes, oh, thank you very much. I just what feels like a few hours ago didn't expect to even have an experience like that, and now you've provided me with my life, essentially. Thank you.
That's what she says.
If there's anything I can do in return, you have my service. I'm at your service. I'm sorry. I'm never usually this
It is a life-changing experience you have just gone through. And I have a assumption you were under quite some urgency before even this curse grew. to suffer within your skin. My name is Harrenhal, and I trust that we will have many more discussions about what purpose the voice has given you. For now, you should rest, you should pray, and you will recover.
Yes, I'm beginning to feel better. Definitely.
She will let you go. You don't need to stay for observation. She's kind of in the assumption that you will return probably again and talk to her.
Yeah.
But more in the way of like, well, now you've probably got questions and you're probably going to come back, and also you're kind of my problem now because I did this, which is very quite fitting of the this is a religion of lawfulness. So actually being like, that's the logic thing to do. Is
before leaving, Bogdan will come up and shake Harrenhal's hand and say, I appreciate it. I think this was a monumental moment. Were you aware just how impactful something like this will be to the future?
Bogdan's after my receipts.
I'm aware that the voice gave me the confidence and strength to make a decision that many others wouldn't. And that is sometimes what the wall needs. That is why the voice speaks to us. It does not matter if it is important or not, if it is the just and orderly thing to do. There was chaos within your companion, and chaos must be turned to order.
I completely agree.
Bit scary.
Someday soon, the faithful such as yourself will have to establish order.
Before, like, everything you said, there's very dwarven conversation where it's like, This is a, like, it's not, like, that definitely makes her curious, but she will not currently question it. And will, step back from the conversation at that point and actually go to pray herself.
I think Oshun will take, obviously, you hand the baby back, or she, like, takes it from you and stuff, and then just sort of, like, holds it and is like...
Baby looks at you.
I think for the first time, Oshun feels like not just, like she feels like a separate entity with weight. Whereas before she was a separate entity, but sort of like tied together, and sort of just her life is in service to protect this child, and now she's just like...
She's realized her, you've had that moment, that mommy moment.
I think it's the opposite, which is really interesting, because, like, all stories that I've consumed, I don't know about you, end with the woman becoming a mother. So the idea of the mother becoming a woman is like, I was like...
You go, girl! Awesome. So probably as you're on, you start heading back, it becomes clear that Oshun is fine. Like, you can just tell, like, Oshun is walking taller again. I mean, literally.
She's getting bigger.
More gods! I think this is probably a good place to end off today's session. Because also to give a little time to think about, more about what that might mean for Oshun and Bogdan, to be fair. And good time had all around. We had some fights, we had some thinks. You didn't find your magic man, but maybe next time. Yeah. Excellente. We will be back next week, as usual. Before we go, this is when we talk about you, but these guys, not you. There. Jaken, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on?
Sure. As always, thanks for having me on. I know at this point I'm kind of a regular, but it's still a treat. Yeah, it's still a treat, and I still appreciate it. So, over at twitch.tv/JakenZol, you can catch me Sunday with my we don't play D&D, but my role-playing group. And for the next 2 months, we'll be doing one-shots as like a buffer before we do our next big campaign, which we just wrapped on the 18th. So if you want to see some systems you may not have seen or you've heard of and may not have played, and you want to see how they run, I can actually probably tell you which systems we're playing, unless something changes drastically. This coming week, we'll be playing Witcher, and then we'll be playing Monster of the Week, and then we'll be playing a very obscure cyberpunk-themed one. I don't even remember the name. I'm not running that one. But and then we'll be closing out our one-shots with Stars Without Number revised, and then we'll be picking up the new campaign.
Stars Without Number might be my favorite RPG, just as a tool set. My homebrew system, there's a homebrew system for the whole Lolliverse, is essentially
OSR,
Stars Without Number mixed with D&D, mixed with my own passions.
It's like a modernized OSR. I dig.
Yeah, it's cool. We just why ever use it when we're doing so well as we are? But yeah.
Right, yeah. So if you're interested in that, come catch us. We'll be playing on the 25th. And yeah, other than that, you can find me here.
Okay, then we got Ian and Zoe.
I was just listening to Jacob and reflecting on how many different people I have outlasted on this stream. Literally everyone apart from Ollie himself. And that's
I need to be here.
We're still in a tie at this point.
Hey, you want to know a mildly serious thing? Because I'm very, very sick. I have considered that at some point I may bequeath Jarviskjir to someone. Or group of people. Like, here are all the documents. Do what you want.
But yeah, Neil's Mr. Campaigner too, and he's not currently here, is he? So I've outlasted him, clearly. But yes, anyway. So there isn't anything particularly new going on since the last time I mentioned on stream. I would just say, if you like this game, then check out the Ollie's Patreon. For $5 a month, you get access to a podcast of our Monday game, which is a little bit more typical D&D, but at the moment, the last few weeks have been big on character development, big on revelations. They've been a lot of fun.
Waiting for the last episode since you began.
Yes, it was more like a couple of episodes. It's just the way the episodes fall and character moments fall.
I was very excited.
Yes, I was looking forward to finding out when that would happen.
Long time.
Yeah, I lasted a very long time.
That campaign has just had its 25th session. That campaign has had more sessions than this one. And now just squeaked over. Yeah. Funnily enough.
Yeah, go check that out. And yeah, I mean, whoa.
Ollie and I are planning different things, working on things, very excited about the game. Very excited about writing stuff, and also like devising schemes and plans and schemes.
Zoe's a schemer.
Super excited about. Definitely.
Yeah, Zoe is the lead writer for Schism. We work together on a lot of the story and characters and also like where Schism will go in the future, especially. Schism is mildly delayed, as it has been many times. If you're watching all of this in one big clump, that's probably very funny. But it's going to be really, really good when it comes out. We're taking all the time to get like the perfect quality which is kind of crazy to do in the world right now, with just stuff as it is. So definitely keep an eye on about that. All that news is going to be coming through. There is the show supported by Patreon. There is an extra on Patreon for $5 a month, as Ian said. It's a pretty good time. I'm also working on a new show with a new cast, potentially. Starting, well, just know that might happen at some point soon. And Doom Lore is ending off soon as well. So, as I get healthier and healthier, and they pump me full of more and more drugs for my belly, there'll be more and more. I'll be like Oshun consuming gods, but Oshun just smooches the gods and gets power. And that's me, but I'm smooching you for power. There we go. That's the brief.
Stop smooching people.
When I'm double vaxxed, you're getting smooched. Smooch your friends, 2022. Too late, 2021. You're married, it doesn't count.
He's my best friend.
Aww. That's that.
I'm not leaving
you can
this time.
That's that. We'll see you next week for more good times. See you next time.